specific objective?
Yeah, so I actually touched on this about my objectives bit, but I think storytelling boils down to objectives, and I think it's all about what you're trying to communicate and to whom and why. So one thing I tell people is be direct. There's no point in beating around the bush. Same analogy, like with ads, what people are trying to do is they're trying to sell you something. So their objective, their objective when it's an advertisement, that they have paid to sell you something, and with that objective in mind. But with content, it's about pleasing the viewer. It's about engaging the viewers, and so what that does is that shows you different objective. I've watched, I don't know how many of you have watched Breaking Bad over here, but I've watched that show so many times, right? And I mean, I keep watching it because the show's producers, they didn't have in mind selling the show. They had in mind to create a great quality, and they wanted my best interests at heart. And as a viewer, that's all I want, right? So as a consumer, that's all people want, to actually have something that works smoothly. Even LinkedIn and Instagram as companies, what they're trying to do as social platforms is to actually they're not trying to get you on just because they want to get you on. They actually want to help you feel entertained, and content is a way to do that. It's to entertain people, it's to educate people. So when you are on social media and when you're creating content, it's all about making it applicable for a certain objective, and you should have that objective in mind. The best way to do that is storytelling. So when I could think of 10 different. I know that Fabio said that he writes down stuff, and I try as hard as I want to. It's very hard for me to note down stuff, especially in the middle of the night. So I basically, what I do is I think of creative ways to think of the same event can be thought of in many different ways. I can think of I might be leaving Canada soon, so I might think of this as my last event. So the story about this, when I make a post, could be that, hey guys, this was my last event in Canada. I got to speak on it, which was pretty cool. I overcame my fear. Same thing, I can say, I met my friend Moeen, right? And I invited him out. That's Moeen, by the way. And I invited him out to this event. So it got me a chance to reconnect with someone who I met in university. The same way I could say that there was a great question asked, the questions asked by the audience, and this is how I answered them. So the same event, even though it's just one LinkedIn local and it's just about storytelling, many different stories can be told through that. So the objective, the story should suit the objective, and the story should be made keeping in mind the objective. So if you're trying to, let's say, sell something to someone and you've got a great product and you're making one post about it, that's it, then what? Don't become an ad that says, this is what we're trying to do and this is how great it's going to be for you. No, just say, hey guys, listen, I need 10 sales for this thing, and this is why I'm doing it. Like I had a friend of mine who was doing Instagram ads recently. He had no clue about how to do Instagram ads, and he was trying. He was doing the Sienta, climbing up the Sienta for the WWF, World Wide Fund, and World Wildlife Fund. And I just told him, if you're going to do an Instagram ad, don't make the ad about being an ad. Just make it about, like, tell them what you're trying to do. So he finally made it that, hey guys, I'm contributing to a great cause. I know this is an ad, but would you guys mind donating $10 so I can get to climb the Sienta and save the environment as well? And so people connected with that ad, and he got it done in like a day or two, right? And so I think that's the that's the key, to have an objective in mind. And you can have different objectives too, but for one specific story, one objective in mind is the best.
Great, thank you, Yash. Thank you, everybody. Question for you, Jennifer. How do you overcome jitters when it's time to present?
Oh, I get the jitters. You know what? I just have to take lots of Rescue Remedy. Does anyone know what that is? Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's in my bag. Take my Rescue Remedy, deep breathe. And then I say to myself, you know what? You're going there with your best heart intentions. You're going there researching what you're supposed to be speaking about. You're going there with the intention of serving and helping or educating others on what you do. And then I gotta let it go. I just have to self-talk myself through it and go, again, who's gonna resonate will resonate. You know you're going in there with the best thoughts and intentions, and let it be.
Great, thank you. Yeah, sure. Jan wants to chime in there.
I do get the jitters too, and actually there's something that happens where my hands get really cold and sweaty. Anybody get sweaty hands when they're nervous? A few of you, thank you for raising your hand, and probably getting sweaty hands just raising your hand. I've learned this from a speaking coach, and he basically said, so when I get nervous, I get sweaty, cold hands. What about if I reframe that as the signs that my body sends when I get excited? So now when I get cold hands and they're sweaty, I'm like, cool, I'm excited. And it's the symptoms that you get in your body when you're nervous and when you're excited are actually exactly the same things. If you think about it, just a story that you tell yourself. And then I read about this research where they did a test with students that had to take an exam, and the first half they had to say, I am nervous. If they were nervous or not, they just had to say, I am nervous. And the second group, they asked to say, I'm excited. Again, it didn't matter if they were nervous or excited. And they showed that the students who said, I'm excited, performed much better than the people that said they were nervous. So in a way, you can almost trick your body. If you just say, hey, I'm excited, you will perform better, and you will be less anxious when you go out on stage.
Oh, wow, so Jan just opened up a box for me, so I could be here all night talking about positive and negative language, but that's not what we're here for. But that's really powerful, absolutely. So I just have one more question that anybody can answer, or everybody can answer, and then I'll take a couple more from the audience, and then we'll be wrapping it up. So who do you think are the best storytellers? Anybody can answer that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, I wanted to reach out to the best storyteller that I believe is in the world. And for me, today, one of my favorite storytellers is Jay Shetty. He tells, he just encapsulates education and entertainment and storytelling so beautifully over video that I don't think a lot of people know how to do it really quite well. And he has excellent communication skills, which is something that also you kind of build on. So that's another thing is if you want to be a good storyteller, you want to communicate better, you just got to put yourself in more of those situations. You know, do it more, go on video more, you know, put yourself in those situations, go on stage more, talk to more people, and you get more comfortable doing it. So, in my opinion, is Jay Shetty, and I've been following him for a long time.
One of the best interviews I've ever had, and the best storyteller ever, was Boy George.
Yes.
Amazing soul.
Yes.
He is so, I'm getting goosebumps all over my body. He is so genuine. He is so in tuned to the human connection, which one wouldn't think when, you know, we go back to the 80s. He has grown as a man, as a leader, as an individual, and what a privilege to be in his space and hear him speak. So I encourage you to check out his Instagram because it's incredible.
So I think for me it's Gary Vaynerchuk, and recently it's become Nas Daily as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because, well, Gary I can talk about for ages, but let's talk about Nas for a bit, because I think one of the best things he's done is, I think he just tries to make friends, and that's what I'm doing. So I connect a lot with him on that. But more than that, I think he frames his objective so well. It's 1 minute videos. That's it. That's all you get. If you're coming for that, great. If you're not, then I mean, he just makes it funny. He makes it interesting. He makes it about people. He doesn't make it about anything other than what it is. And what I really love the most about him is I've actually spoken to someone who invested in him very early on when he started his channel. And I think, they also, when I talked to them, they said that the reason they invested in him is because he knows what he wants to do. And ultimately what he wants to do, I mean, the best thing about him was I found that there was no ulterior motive. There was no, he wants to make a business out of it. There was no, he wants to sell stuff. No, his passion was making videos, and he made 1 minute videos. And I think that's an amazing story in itself. I think wisdom is simplification. And I think the one word to describe whatever we all do, stories, social media and all that, is communication. So I think what Nas does really, really, really well and hits the nail on the head is that he communicates simply, effectively, and he follows his passion, and there is no ulterior motive there. He's not trying to sell you anything, it's just genuine friendship. And so it feels like it's already a friendship with him, even though I have no clue who he actually is, but seeing his social media, I kind of feel like I do. And that's the whole point, communication. I just saw Jennifer, funny story, I just saw Jennifer today, and since I'm the social media manager for DYPB as well, I was posting her face basically. And Jan and Fabio, we know each other, but this is the first time I met Jennifer in person. And she was sitting there quietly, and I was trying to think about where I'd seen this person. And finally I realized that, oh, she's the face I posted day before yesterday. So that's how you connect with, I think the best storytellers are just those. They're genuine, and all they want to do is, even if they don't want to make friends, they make their objectives very clear.
So I'm not going to mention one specific storyteller, but I believe there's one thing that all the really good storytellers do really well, which is they have found their own style, they have found their own voice. And I myself feel like I'm constantly kind of removing all the layers to find what is that voice that is underneath. From probably when I was a kid, I think when we were children, that's where we had the most authentic, most genuine voice, and then we put on all these layers and being afraid of judgment and being rejected that make us change to maybe share something that we think other people want to hear, rather than the true authentic voice that is inside of us. So I believe when like Jay Shetty has a very unique style, or Nas Daily, like the way he talks in his videos is very unique. Like when you see one of those videos, you know exactly who it is from. And I feel like that's what makes a great storyteller. And I'll share one tiny little example of how I feel like I found a little bit of my voice when I was sending out an email this week. While I was sending my email, I was sitting on my desk and my cat walked across the keyboard. If you have a cat, they love, like that's the place where they want to hang out. And it made all these scrambled words. And I deleted it, and then I was like, but no. This would be a great moment to share a little bit more of my personal life. So I hit undo. I left all the scrambled letters in there and then wrote, sorry, my cat just walked on the keyboard, and continued with the sentence. And that's probably not something that you would learn in, journalism school, of how you should write an email to your audience. But I had a few people actually notice that and mention it to me in the few days afterwards, that they, oh my God, I have a cat too, and we connected on that tiny little thing. So you don't have to follow any rules when it comes to storytelling. Just find the ones that are your own authentic voice.